The fight may not have a time and a place, but the trash talk has already begun. I'm Prince Ripipat with your MMA Live Extra. Jon Jones and Rashad Evans were teammates that were never meant to fight one another. It almost seemed as though they were even friends. And my, how things have changed in just a few months. After Jon Jones became the youngest champion in UFC history, that teammate mentality and friendship went out the window. Jones said he would fight Evans, and the light heavyweight title tilt was set. But for those who thought these two might keep it cordial, you might want to think again. For more on this, we bring in ESPN.com MMA insider Josh Gross.
I spoke to Jon Jones on Tuesday in Los Angeles, and he certainly had words for Rashad Evans. It was interesting speaking to him at a posh hotel in Sunset. He's been at these spots now since winning the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship in March. His life has been a whirlwind, but he certainly hasn't forgotten what's in front of him, and that's a title fight sometime probably September, October against Evans, a former teammate. Essentially, the words that he said, which have been picked up and have been discussed quite a bit, that he chose not to finish Evans in sparring. And it was interesting, you never hear fighters talk about sparring that way, especially never in the context of finishing somebody. And Jones saying his decision not to finish Evans was out of some sort of respect for his elders in camp, I think was indicative of the way that he views Evans and sort of his martial arts philosophy. People are quick to call him cocky, and he didn't quite come off that way. He just came off as supremely confident, a guy who's sure of himself, and pretty sure he's going to beat Rashad Evans.
Thanks, Josh. Well, if you want to know more of what Jon Jones had to say, check out Josh's column on the MMA page at ESPN.com. Also, Josh's report card on Bellator 41 is available today as well. Well, there are always two sides to every story. Challenger Rashad Evans had a different take on how things went down. Evans has recently taken to his Twitter page to rebuff some of Jones' claims. Here's Franklin McNeil with Evans' side of the story.
I had an opportunity to speak with Rashad Evans after the Twitter incident, and he immediately told me that first of all, is not true, that he was not nearly submitted by Jon Jones in camp. He did admit that there were times when he put himself in position to be submitted, but that's protocol in camp, that the guys tend to make sure that they put their training partner in position for submissions or to counter, things like that. So yeah, that happens, and it also happened in his favor where Jones was in position to be submitted. Rashad is upset with this entire situation because he believes, as training partners, there are things you keep in camp, and I talked to a few fighters who also agree with Rashad in that sense. It's unfortunate. They were close for a while. Rashad feels that Jon Jones really used him to get in camp and learn things, and once he improved, he turned against him. And he believes that he welcomed Jon Jones into Jackson's camp in good faith, and that Jones took advantage of it. And that's really the hostility that Rashad Evans has toward Jon Jones.
Thanks, Franklin. So no date has been set for the UFC 205-pound title clash, but it is a fight that will continue to provide plenty of intriguing storylines. Now, staying in the UFC's premier division, a big fight has been added as UFC makes its return to Brazil for the first time after over a decade. The event will take place in Rio de Janeiro on August 27th. Brett Okamoto has more about this big-time matchup between two former champs.
Yeah, big fight between Forrest Griffin and Mauricio Shogun, who I added to that UFC card down in Brazil later this year in August. And it's definitely an intriguing fight. These two fought before in 2007. Forrest came away with a victory in that one. And surprisingly, it might surprise a few of you, I'm picking him to do the same again, at least early. I'll be interested to see how Shogun comes back from that loss to Jon Jones. That was a tough loss. He took a lot of damage. Psychologically, that's a difficult thing to come back from. And Forrest, on the other hand, is in a great place. He's won 2 fights. And I know that this is a fight, the fight with Shogun is one that he actually asked the UFC for, which tells me stylistically he feels he matches up well against Shogun, and he's confident that he can do what it takes to win the fight. So at least early, we'll see how my opinion changes come August, but I'm leaning a little bit toward Forrest Griffin.
Already an absolutely stacked card for the UFC in Rio. Now, just a quick reminder, vote on our MMA hot button question every week. Just go to ESPN.com/hot. Now, this week's question is, should Nick Diaz give boxing a shot? Let your voice be heard on the matter at ESPN.com. And finally, MMA Live comes to you this Thursday on ESPN2, so don't miss that. A big thanks to Josh, Franklin, and Brett. I'm Prim Saripapat. We'll see you guys at midnight on Thursday. That's Eastern Time, only on ESPN2.